I welcome you to this course on human values in Jain Darshan. It shall give you basic information about the tenets of Jain Darshan and its utility in life. We shall cover this course in 20 lectures. You might think that why should you study a course on Darshan and when you are a professional student? Well, this kind of doubt is not correct. The course has great utility in the life. First, it provides basic understanding of life, what life is and what is its purpose. And it broadens your vision. You have a broader perspective in life. It helps you in ethical living. It will study the ethical principles and human values in Jain Darshan. It should increase your tolerance. We live in society, we live in family, and we should accommodate each other, we should respect others' views and so on. And without this, the life becomes rather unhappy. So this requires tolerance, you live together and tolerate each other. And this property and quality, you'll find that, it's embedded in Jain Darshan. It makes you friendly in your family, in your society, with your friends and so on. And it also makes you friendly with the nature. It makes you realize that the material progress is not all in life. It's not a passport to happiness. There is something else which makes you happy. It helps you in times of difficulty. There are times in life where you are at loss, what to do, how to proceed. At such times, it will give you patience. It will teach you how to live with patience and find a way out of difficulties. It helps you to take a right decision in life, taking all aspects of life into account. Your decision should not be one-sided. It should be a holistic view of life on which the decisions should be made. So you'll find in this way the course will help you in your personal life as well as in your professional life. By and large, human beings seek peace and happiness. Everybody wants to be happy. Everybody wants to be at peace. Traditions have been involved just for this purpose, and they teach you how to live happily in life. There were only two traditions in India in the ancient times, what we call as a Vedic tradition and a Shraman tradition. Jainism belongs to Shraman tradition. Early civilization tried to seek answers to very important perennial questions like, who am I? What is my existence? Who created this universe? What is the relation between the universe and man? Why there is pain and misery in life? What is the goal of life? Shraman tradition found answers to these questions without explanation, without assuming the existence of God. Jainism does not believe in a creator God, a God who has created this universe. This kind of concept is not there in Jainism. And Jainism does not believe that the God controls the universe. Who controls the universe? Jainism believes it is the laws. The laws control the universe. Jainism in that way is rational in its approach, as the science is, as the science also believes in laws, and all processes in nature are taking place by one or the other law. Every living being is a soul. So without soul there is no life. No one created this universe. This universe is eternal. It has been existing from beginningless time. Human beings are affected by the environment, and the environment affects the human beings. So this is a two-way process, and therefore there has to be harmony between the life, the human beings, and the environment. And the goal of life is to get rid of this pain and misery which we have in life. And if you do that, you attain a state of perfect bliss. So Jain tradition teaches the ways and means to attain this particular kind of objective. In this course, we shall talk about concepts, we shall talk about principles and practices of Jain darshan, and we'll also talk about some applications regarding societal problems and global issues. I first take up very briefly the important practices in Jain darshan. What we call as anuvrat. There are small vows we take, and they help us very much in our life to lead a happy life, and to lead a virtuous life, and to lead a moral life. There are 5 vrats or laws. First is ahimsa anuvrat. It says that you should not kill any living being, you should not hurt any living being. Hinsa is caused by passions, by our emotions of anger, ego, and so on. And either you commit hinsa intentionally yourself, or you ask somebody else to do it, or you support one who is involved in hinsa. So there are 3 ways of doing hinsa, and we'll learn the details about these things. The second vrat is satyanuvrat. Of course, we all know that one should not lie, and you should speak truth. But this, the truth should be commendable. It should not harm anybody. That is, even if the truth must be such that so of course you speak truth, but at the same time you are not. You have to see that your speaking truth does not harm anybody. This is a good way of behaving. Then there is achorya anuvrat. You should not steal anything. What is stealing? Stealing is taking what is not given to you. That is stealing. So that law we must observe in life. And then the brahmacharya anuvrat, regarding the sexual relationships, it is enjoined in Jain darshan that one should have sexual relationship only with one's spouse and nobody else. Then there is the last vrat is aparigraha. That is, you should not engage yourself in accumulating wealth unnecessarily. So the insensible possession is prohibited in Jainism, whether it's a possession of wealth or property or money or servants or things like this. So you must define your own needs, and the needs must be kept to a minimum so that your possessions are kept to a minimum. Then we also talk of Mahavratas. These vratas are only for ascetics, and we'll learn about them. Then we should talk about higher values in life. These are very important, in fact. The first such virtue is forgiveness. We commit mistakes in our life, and we hurt others, and so on. So we should be able to beg forgiveness from the person we have hurt, and we should be able to forgive all others. This is a two-way traffic again, and this is a very good virtue. If you can imbibe this in life, you will be a very happy person. Humility, modesty in behavior. You must be modest. There should be no ego. The ego is, and the pride is, the greatest enemy of a person. So you must be a humble person. Then the third one is the straightforwardness. What you say and what you do must be the same. It's not like that you say something and do something else. This kind of cunningness is not good in our conduct. So we must be straightforward. That means what we say is what we do. Then the purity of heart. This cleanses our mind and craving for greed and so on. So you must have a pure heart. And this will lead you to contentment. You have satisfaction in your life, and you will have a state of equanimity, what you call as a samatha. Then there are self-restraints. We must exercise restraints on our sensual behavior or on our sensual attractions. This is very important, because the more the sensual attractions, more we are likely to forget our actual objective in life and get involved with things which are not very necessary, in fact. So you must have you must exercise self-restraints in your thoughts, on your actions, and on your entertainment of various kinds. Then we'll also talk of concepts. This is very important as far as Jain philosophy is concerned. You see, things are defined first, and then their properties are studied, and then their behavior is studied, just like what we do in science. So we define, number one thing is a substance. What is a substance? A substance, according to Jain view, is capable of eternal continuous existence without extinction. That is, continuously exists. So a thing which continuously exists and is eternal is called a substance. And there is another property of a substance, that it undergoes infinite successions of origination, cessation. That means its form keep on changing. The mode of the substance keep on changing, but the substance does not change. So it has a continuous existence. And there are only 6 kinds of substances. We will study them in our lectures. Then we will study principles. The first principle is the doctrine of karma. And this is the law of the soul. The soul follows the law of karma, which in simple words means, as you sow, so shall you reap. Jaisa karoge, vaisa bharoge. So this is a law, and which is, it's a law means it is always true. You can't escape this law. Whatever you do, you have to face the consequences of your actions. Not if not in this life, maybe in the next life, but you will surely face the consequences. And this law explains why there is a birth and death, why there is unhappiness in life, why there is a diversity in nature, why there are so many kinds of living beings, and so on. All these things are explained by the law of karma. Then there are 7 fundamental truths, what we call as a tattvas. If you consider our own existence, then we exist as a mixture of soul and body. The body is made of matter, and the soul is a different thing, which is non-material, non-physical. And the life is a combination of soul and body, soul and matter. This kind of existence, always gives rise to happiness, unhappiness, and sorrow, misery, sadness, and so on in life. So the question is, if this is the kind of situation, what happens to soul? The soul is not in the pure state. It has been existing in the impure state right from beginningless time. This is what Jainism assumes. So our soul is in impure state, is infested with karma, and because of karma, as I said, so many things are happening in our life. The question is there any way to get rid of these things, so sorrow, misery, and pain in life, and achieve a state where these things are absent and we enjoy perfect bliss? Yes. The answer is yes. It is possible. What one has to do is separate out the karma from the soul. That is, separate out the soul and matter. Well, it's not so easy as we are talking. As I am saying to you, it's a difficult process because of several reasons which we will study. But the fact is that this can be done. And if this is done, then soul becomes devoid of karma, it becomes devoid of matter, then what remains is pure soul. And that in that state, soul enjoys perfect bliss, and then it has other natural properties which manifest automatically when the soul is made to exist in a pure state. So the Jainism teaches how to do it, and we'll study these things in our lecture. Then there is a concept of pap and punya. There are bad actions and there are good actions. And there, of course, bad actions will have bad consequences in its life, and good actions will have good consequences in life. So they are pap and punya. And these are almost kind of regular things or regular happenings in our life. Our activities can be classed either as a pap or as punya. There are only two kinds. And it is with us, that how do we engage in good activities or bad activities. And so we'll study the concepts of pap and punya and how they are bound to karma. Then we'll study theory of knowledge. This is also again an important topic, concept knowledge. According to Jain Darshan, jnana is the property of soul. Soul is gyan. So soul is knower. Soul knows the self as well as other objects in the universe, in the environment. So soul is knower. So that is the property of the soul. And with that property, soul knows everything. We gain knowledge. So the knowledge according to Jain Darshan can be categorized in two groups. One, the knowledge which is obtained with the help of senses and mind, what we call as a buddhi, the bodhic knowledge. And this is the kind of knowledge we have. We use our senses and our mind to know something, to know about something. So that knowledge falls under this category. All those things which you are learning, say for example at home, at school, at college, or through books, or through print media, or through electronic media, any means, all that knowledge falls in this category. And this category, this kind of knowledge is, number one, finite. You know only a little about any object. You don't know everything about the object. That is a very difficult part. And number two, this knowledge is imperfect in the sense that there can be contradiction. There are contradictions in our knowledge. So that kind of knowledge is full of contradictions, is imperfect, and is limited. Then there is another kind of knowledge which is obtained directly by the soul without using senses and mind. Soul has that capacity and that power to know the things directly. That kind of knowledge is perfect. That kind of knowledge then is infinite. It does not suffer from any limit. And there are no contradictions. Then the soul knows the truth. The truth is only one. And soul knows the truth, and there are no contradictions in such knowledge. So that we will study how this kind of knowledge is obtained. Then we will study the principle Anekantvad. This is again an important principle of Jain philosophy. It says that the substances are characterized by infinite number of attributes and infinite number of qualities. any substance will have infinite qualities, and all these qualities do not manifest at a time, and we do not know at a time. At a time we only know only some of the qualities, because only some are expressed. All qualities of a substance or any object not expressed at a time. They are expressed from time to time in a different way. So we know only some of the qualities of an object, and therefore if I know some of the qualities, or I know only some aspects, the other person might know other aspects, and so on. So that way the knowledge of the same thing by different persons might differ, that there might be differences, there might be contradictions, even opposite kind of nature. You'll find that no, this is something very different and I am thinking very different. So this principle of Anekantvad says that, look here, there are all attributes of the same substance. You are only conceiving different aspects of the same substance, and therefore you should not fight with each other. You reconcile, and you must entertain others' views, you must respect others' views, because they offer the attributes of the same substance. This principle is important. We will study that. Then we will also study applications. Jain principles, basically insists on personal conduct. That if the conduct of a person is improved, and if the person has good conduct, automatically there will be a good society. So the societal problems are taken care of automatically if a person has good conduct. This is of course very true. So if all of us suppose behave as a very good person, why should there be societal problems? Because then we think of others. We not only think of ourselves, we also think of others. That is the characteristic of a good conduct. A good conduct does not mean that we are selfish. You think of yourself and do not think of others. That can never be called as a good conduct. So, but then there are societal problems. This is of course one aspect of the whole thing. But the fact remains that in spite of all this, there are problems in society for gender equality. Sometimes the difference is made between male and female. There are social inequalities based on race, caste, wealth, rich and poor, and so on. And as we know, there is corruption at various levels in the society. There is a sexual abuse and so on. All these problems still remain because all people do not have good conduct. So we'll talk about these problems in our lectures. Then we'll also refer to global problems. We all know there are environmental pollution. We are all facing that problem. Then there are global warming, climate change. These problems are also there. And a big problem is loss of biodiversity. Many of the species of living beings are getting extinct day by day, and this rate is the rate of extinction is going fast. It is increasing. So more and more species are going extinct. Why? It is because of the behavior of the human being. So it is the human being, who is responsible for loss in biodiversity. So we will talk about this problem as well, and we'll also talk about conservation of natural resources. The natural resources in the earth are of course limited, and we are consuming these resources at a very fast rate, and the resources are depleting at a very fast rate, and that is going to pose a big problem in future. There is a problem of pandemic, as we are all having just now. We are having corona, and why? Is there any a particular cause or a cause which can be identified according to Jain philosophy that could be responsible for say for example the pandemic of corona? So such kind of things also we will talk. Then lastly, there is a principle interdependence, what we call as a paraspara-graho jivana. It's a big principle in Jainism, All human beings are interdependent. Nobody is exclusively independent. You can't live as an independent person in society, not even a family. You depend upon other people, other persons in family, in society, and so on. For example, you have a mobile. Now, you enjoy the mobile, but just think, how many people have contributed to knowledge so the mobile can be made or could be made, so that the software is made, applications are made, and you are using them. You should be thankful to all these people who have devoted their time and mind and energy in order that the mobile is produced and you use it very happily. So that way, we depend on each other. Not only human beings, all life, entire life, whatever kind of it is, they depend on each other. We depend upon bacteria, we depend upon trees, we depend upon other animals and so on. So the entire life in this world is interdependent. We'll still talk of these principles. So in short, I have just given an overview as to what we are going to learn in the span of 20 lectures on Jain Darshan. Thank you.